I never thought a simple crush could turn my world upside down. My name is Alex, I'm 22, and I've always considered myself, well, normal enough. A college student majoring in graphic design, I spend most of my days sketching, playing video games, and quietly admiring the world around me. But there's a part of me I've kept tucked away, a little secret that I never let anyone see. It wasn't anything dangerous or wrong, just a curiosity, a fascination that made me nervous and thrilled at the same time. I liked dressing up in a way that didn't exactly fit the image everyone had of me. Feminine clothes, makeup, the kind of stuff most people laughed at or called strange. It fascinated me. I'd always been careful, hiding it in the corners of my room, sneaking glances at fashion blogs and tutorials, and imagining what it would feel like to slip into a dress or paint my lips a bold color. My apartment was my sanctuary, a modest one-bedroom place I shared with a roommate who was usually gone, leaving me my own little world. Posters lined the walls, artistic sketches, abstract designs, and a few of my favorite fashion icons. My desk was cluttered with sketchbooks, pencils, and a laptop that constantly reminded me of deadlines. On the edge of my dresser, a small makeup bag lay hidden behind a stack of clothes, something I had never dared to open when anyone else was home. It was just mine, a secret universe tucked into a corner of my ordinary life. And then there was Emma. Emma, with her golden hair that seemed to catch sunlight even indoors, and eyes that sparkled with mischief whenever she smiled. She had this way of teasing me that made my stomach flip in ways I couldn't explain. We'd met in one of my classes last semester, and somehow she had wormed her way into my life with effortless charm. She wasn't mean, far from it, but her playful, mischievous nature kept me on edge. One minute, we'd be laughing over a silly meme. The next, she'd be poking fun at me in a way that made my cheeks burn. Emma was the kind of person who could make you feel seen, even when you didn't want to be. And I, of course, had fallen completely for her. Our dynamic was complicated, though. I wanted to tell her everything. My fascination, my little secret, the hidden thrill I felt about crossdressing, but I didn't dare. Emma could be so unpredictable, and I feared her judgment. What if she laughed? What if she teased me endlessly? What if she stopped seeing me the way I wanted her to? So I kept it locked away, buried under layers of nervous laughter and casual conversations. That afternoon, I was sitting on my bed, headphones in, sketching a design for my latest assignment when I heard her voice outside the door. "Alex, you in there?" Emma called, her tone light but teasing. My stomach sank a little, my heartbeat picking up speed. She was supposed to come over to study, but somehow in my mind it always felt like more than just studying. I quickly shoved my sketchbook aside and tried to act normal, hoping my flushed cheeks weren't obvious. "Yeah, come in," I called, forcing a casual tone. The door opened, and there she was, golden hair cascading over her shoulders, a mischievous grin on her face. She carried a small tote bag, which I immediately noticed was slightly bulging. I didn't think much of it at first, maybe snacks, maybe books, but there was something about the way she walked in, confident and teasing, that set off a small spark of nervous excitement in me. "You've been working hard, huh?" she said, glancing around my room. Her eyes flicked briefly to the corner where my little secret was hidden. I felt a tiny jolt of panic, imagining her finding my makeup bag, seeing the collection of pastel eyeshadows, lipsticks, and nail polishes. I swallowed hard and forced a laugh. "Yeah, just trying to finish this assignment." Emma plopped down on the bed beside me, casually swinging her bag. "You know," she said, smirking, "I was thinking you'd never be able to pull off one of my outfits." "Not a chance." My heart skipped. I forced a chuckle, pretending not to care, but inside, my mind was racing. Pull off her outfit? The thought alone sent a shiver down my spine. A tiny, forbidden thrill flared in my chest. I had never tried anything like that before, not even close. The idea of slipping into her clothes, just to see how it felt, it was intoxicating and terrifying at the same time. Emma leaned closer, her grin widening. "Honestly, I'd pay to see you try. Bet you'd look ridiculous." She laughed, the sound light and airy, but it carried a subtle challenge. My pulse pounded. I wanted to say no, to act offended, but another part of me, the curious, hidden part of me, wanted to say yes. Just for a second. Just to see. Alone in my room, the seed of a dangerous idea had been planted. I glanced at her bag again, imagining what it would be like if I dared. The thrill of imagining herself standing in front of the mirror, feeling the fabric of a dress against my skin, trying on her shoes, it made my palms sweat and my heart race. I don't know if I could, I stammered, trying to sound casual. But Emma's gaze was sharp, teasing, expectant. Oh, come on, she coaxed. Just for fun. You might even like it. And there it was. The spark. The challenge. My curiosity, the tiny thrill I'd been hiding for years, flared to life. Part of me screamed, don't do it. Another part whispered, just for a minute. Just to see. I looked at Emma's smiling face, at the playful sparkle in her eyes, and felt the invisible line between fear and excitement blur. That moment, that tiny heartbeat, was the beginning of something I couldn't yet understand, something that would change my life in ways I had never imagined. And as I reached toward her tote bag, my hands trembling slightly, I couldn't help but wonder, what if this little joke, this playful challenge, became the moment I discovered a part of myself I had been too scared to explore? I knew I shouldn't, but part of me wanted to see what it felt like, just for a minute. I stared at Emma's tote bag, like it held the answer to a question I hadn't dared ask myself. Part of me screamed, don't touch it. Another part whispered, just for a minute. My heart pounded in my chest as I slowly moved closer, my fingers brushing against the soft material peeking from the bag. The thrill of the forbidden surged through me, a mix of fear, excitement, and that strange curiosity I'd never fully explored. I exhaled shakily and reached inside. The first item I pulled out was a blouse, soft and silky against my fingers. My breath caught. It wasn't just the texture that startled me. It was the idea of wearing something so different, something that belonged to her. I held it up against myself, imagining how it might feel, how it might change the way I looked, the way I moved, even the way I felt. My reflection in the mirror caught my eye, and I quickly averted my gaze. But I couldn't resist. Just for a minute, I whispered to myself, heart racing. Just to see. I slipped the blouse over my head. The fabric slid down my shoulders, soft and foreign, yet oddly natural. I froze in front of the mirror, tracing the lines of the blouse against my skin. I barely recognized myself. The reflection staring back was different, softer, more delicate, but still undeniably me. My pulse quickened, and a small, guilty thrill surged through me. Next came the skirt. I had never worn one before, not like this, not with intention. Pulling it on, I felt the unfamiliar weight and texture against my legs. Standing up, I wobbled slightly on my feet, unused to the balance and sway. I laughed nervously, partly at my clumsiness, partly at the excitement bubbling in my chest. And then the shoes. Heels. My first ever. I knelt to slip them on, feeling the tight straps hug my feet. Standing up, the world seemed slightly taller, edges sharper, movements more cautious. I teetered, gripping the dresser for balance, and then, finally, I found a rhythm. The heels transformed not just my posture, but something inside me. Confidence, or something like it, washed over me in waves. I glanced at the mirror again. It wasn't perfect. My shoulders still felt too broad, my hair too short, but there was a new elegance to me, a fragile beauty that made my breath catch. My reflection stared back, eyes wide, lips slightly parted, a silent question hanging in the air. Who am I right now? The makeup was next. My hands trembled as I opened the small bag I'd hidden behind my books, the familiar scent of cosmetics filling the air. I had never applied it seriously before. Foundation first, dabbed carefully, blending it into my skin. Blush came next, light strokes on my cheeks, warm and rosy. Eyeliner was tricky. I'd never used one before, but somehow my hands obeyed, tracing delicate lines along my eyelids. The lipstick was the final, terrifying step. I swiped it on slowly, watching the transformation deepen. The mirror reflected a stranger and myself at the same time. It was thrilling, nerve-wracking, and intoxicating all at once. I leaned closer, studying my face, tracing the curves of my lips, the arch of my brows. My pulse was rapid, a mix of fear and exhilaration. I was me, and yet I wasn't. The reflection teased a side of me I had never allowed to exist. I almost didn't notice the sound at first, a faint creak in the hallway, footsteps I hadn't expected. My heart leapt. Emma? Could she be back already? I froze, half in panic, half in awe of myself. I quickly tried to adjust my hair, the skirt, the blouse, but every movement made me feel more exposed, more vulnerable. The accessories came last. A delicate necklace, a bracelet, small rings, all things I had admired on Emma, but never imagined wearing myself. The final touch was a wig I'd found tucked at the bottom of her bag. Golden strands that fell over my shoulders, slightly curling at the ends. Placing it on my head, adjusting it carefully, I barely recognized the person staring back in the mirror. And yet, I felt a thrill I couldn't deny. A quiet, dangerous happiness settled over me. I was beautiful. Not like anyone else. Definitely not like my normal self. But there was a charm, a confidence, a strange elegance that made me stand taller, move smoother, breathe differently. I twirled slowly in the mirror, feeling the skirt flare, the heels clicking softly against the floor. For the first time, I imagined someone seeing me like this. Not laughing, not judging, just seeing me. And then reality hit. The sound of footsteps again, closer this time. I froze. Panic gripped me as I realized how vulnerable I was. If Emma came in now, I didn't know what I would do. The secret I'd cherished so carefully, the thrill I'd indulged in, could be exposed in a single moment. My pulse thundered in my ears as I debated my next move. Should I strip everything off, hide the evidence, and pretend none of this ever happened? Or should I risk it and see what happened if she saw me like this? My reflections seemed to answer me. A confident smile stared back, eyes sparkling with daring. The thrill, the excitement, the possibility of being discovered, it all mingled into a heady cocktail of fear and curiosity. I had never felt so alive and so terrified at the same time. Then came the small human slips. A heel caught on the edge of the rug, a necklace clasp popped loose, a strand of wig fell across my face. My heart leapt. If she walked in now, she would see everything, the blouse, the skirt, the heels, the makeup, the wig, and most importantly me. And yet, I couldn't bring myself to panic. Part of me wanted to show her, to reveal this hidden side of myself, just to see her reaction. I imagined her expression, laughing, teasing, curious. My mind raced. Would she think it was funny? Cute? Shocking? The thought made my cheeks flush and my stomach twist in a combination of dread and desire. The clock ticked loudly. Every sound in the apartment seemed amplified. A breeze from the slightly open window made the skirt sway, the wig shimmer. I held my breath, listening for any sign of her, every creak and shuffle sending my pulse racing. The line between reality and fantasy blurred as I imagined Emma walking in, eyes widening, lips parting in surprise. My chest tightened, my palms were sweaty, but the thrill, oh, the thrill, was irresistible. I caught myself smiling. This was dangerous, reckless, and yet utterly intoxicating. My reflection winked back at me, daring me to continue, to explore, to embrace this side of myself. I could feel my heart beating in tandem with every thrill, every fear, every longing I had ever buried deep inside. I hadn't gone far yet, but the first steps had been taken. And in that small, trembling moment, I realized something terrifyingly exciting. I was hooked. And then, just as I thought I could breathe, I heard it again, a laugh. Soft, familiar, teasing.
Emma.
I froze, heels clicking against the floor as my mind raced. She was back. She had probably seen everything. Or maybe not. Maybe she hadn't noticed yet. But the danger, the suspense, the sheer vulnerability of being caught, it was all too real. And that's when I realized my life was about to change forever. I had never been more aware of every sound in my apartment. My heart pounded as if it were trying to escape my chest, and each creak of the floorboards sounded like a trumpet announcing my doom. The thrill I had felt moments ago, slipping into Emma's clothes, trying on her heels, painting my face with makeup, had transformed into something much more intense. Fear. And then I heard it. The soft click of the front door unlocking. Emma.
She was home early.
I froze mid-step, my reflection in the mirror staring back at me, wide-eyed and terrified. My heels clicked against the floor as I shifted, trying to figure out where to hide, what to do, how to undo what I had done, or maybe, secretly, how to survive the possibility of being seen. The skirt swirled around my legs, the blouse clinging delicately to my torso, the wig slightly askew from my earlier fumble. I held my breath, praying she wouldn't notice. I could hear her footsteps approaching the hallway, slow, teasing, deliberate. Every step made my chest tighten. I dove behind my desk, crouching low, trying to make myself as small as possible. My wig brushed the edge of the floor. The heels slipped slightly, and a soft thud echoed in the otherwise quiet apartment. I froze, ears straining. Alex. Emma's voice floated into the room, curious, teasing. Panic surged. My mind raced. Should I answer? Pretend nothing happened? Or stay silent and hope she thought I was somewhere else entirely? I swallowed hard, the taste of fear bitter in my mouth. Her footsteps paused, then shifted slightly. I felt my wig shift, one golden strand falling across my cheek. My heart skipped. She could see it. She could see me. She had to. Emma's voice came again, softer this time, almost playful. I know you're in here. Come on, you can't hide from me. I bit my lip, torn between relief and terror. Part of me wanted to run, to strip everything off, hide in my normal clothes, and pretend this never happened. But another part, the part that had felt a surge of power, confidence, and yes, beauty, didn't want to move. Didn't want to hide. I wanted her to see. The footsteps approached my desk. My breath caught as Emma peeked around the corner. Her eyes widened slightly, then a slow, teasing smile spread across her face. Well, look at you, she said, voice lilting, amused. I never expected this. I swallowed, unsure what to say. My cheeks burned as I tried to make sense of the words, the situation, the thrill and fear colliding in my chest. It's not what it looks like, I stammered. My voice sounded strange, higher than normal, betraying my panic. Emma tilted her head, eyes sparkling. Really? Because it looks like my pretty little twin just appeared out of nowhere. I felt my stomach drop, a mixture of embarrassment and something dangerously close to exhilaration. She wasn't angry. Not even close. She was teasing, playful, curious. My pulse raced. I wanted to laugh, cry, hide, and melt all at once. Then came the first close call. My heel slipped on the edge of the rug as I shifted nervously, sending a small thud echoing across the room. Emma's eyes flicked down immediately. My hands flew to steady myself, but the wig slipped further, a strand brushing my cheek. My breath caught. Oh my, careful there, Emma said, a giggle escaping her lips. You're more delicate than I thought. I swallowed hard, nerves on edge. I didn't. I stopped, realizing I sounded ridiculous, panicked, exposed. Emma laughed softly, stepping closer. Relax. I'm not mad. I mean, wow, Alex. You look amazing. The words hit me like a wave, knocking the breath out of me. My mind spun. She wasn't angry. She wasn't judging. She was impressed, maybe even a little delighted. My hands shook as I adjusted my skirt, tugged lightly at the blouse, trying to regain composure. Then the real suspense hit. A sudden knock on the apartment door, our neighbor, or maybe her roommate returning early, sent my pulse skyrocketing. My mind screamed, what if they saw me like this? What if my secret life was revealed to everyone I knew? I froze, caught between the heels, the skirt, and the pounding in my chest. Emma's eyes flicked toward the door, then back at me. Looks like you've got a situation, she said, smirking. I'm tempted to leave you like this. My heart raced. I wanted to laugh nervously, to plead, to explain, but my voice felt trapped. My entire body hummed with the tension of exposure, the vulnerability of being caught, and the forbidden thrill of being seen like this by Emma, the one person who mattered. I moved slightly, adjusting my wig. It slipped further, falling half over my face. Emma stepped forward quickly, brushing it back gently, her fingers lingering slightly longer than necessary. I felt a jolt, fear, yes, but also something else. Something I couldn't name, a mix of relief and thrill that she was here, seeing me. The next few moments blurred. The door remained closed, no one else entered, but every sound, the ticking clock, the hum of the fridge, the soft creak of the floorboards, felt amplified. My heartbeat roared in my ears. I was exposed, yet safe. Vulnerable, yet empowered. Emma tilted her head, studying me like a painter observing a masterpiece. You know, she said softly, you could get used to this. You're really good at it. I swallowed hard. My mind raced. I don't know if I should. You should, she interrupted gently, stepping closer. Her smile softened. And don't be afraid. You don't have to hide from me. I felt a surge of something unfamiliar, relief, excitement, and a strange, thrilling sense of belonging. All the fear, the tension, the risk, it all condensed into that moment. One heartbeat, one look. I was both Alex and this version of me she was seeing, acknowledging, even admiring. And then, just when I thought I could breathe, the final twist, a text alert from my phone, loud and insistent, broke the fragile calm. I jumped, heels clicking against the floor. Emma's eyes twinkled with amusement. Looks like your secret's about to get an audience, she said softly, voice teasing. I froze, dread crashing over me. My heart raced, palms sweaty, legs trembling. I wanted to check the phone. I wanted to hide. I wanted to run. But my feet stayed planted, heels precariously balanced, skirt swaying, makeup slightly smudged. Emma laughed softly, moving closer again, eyes warm but mischievous. Don't worry. I think we can handle this together. I swallowed, unsure if I could trust her words, unsure if I could trust myself. My reflection in the mirror, a mix of Alex and this newly transformed self, stared back, daring me to take the leap, daring me to embrace what I had discovered about myself. The door creaked slightly, the text alert continued, my body trembled, and Emma's gaze never left me. Every second stretched, every heartbeat thundered, and the suspense became unbearable. And that's when I realized nothing would ever be the same again. My body was frozen, every nerve screaming, every heartbeat pounding like a drum in my chest. Emma stood a few feet away, eyes sparkling with curiosity and amusement, and the text alert on my phone kept buzzing insistently. It was like the universe had condensed all my fear, excitement, and vulnerability into one unbearable, electrifying moment. I wanted to move. I wanted to reach for the phone, to hide, to explain everything, or maybe nothing at all. But I couldn't. I was trapped between thrill and terror, between my two selves, Alex, the boy I had always been, and the Alex that now shimmered in front of the mirror. Bold, delicate, undeniably beautiful in ways I had only dared imagine. Emma tilted her head, a teasing smirk playing at her lips. You know, she said softly, almost whispering, this could get complicated. My stomach nodded. Complicated? That was the understatement of the century. Complicated barely scratched the surface of what I was feeling. Excitement, dread, shame, pride, desire. It all mixed into a storm that threatened to overwhelm me. My heels dug into the floor, my skirt swayed, and my hands fidgeted nervously with the hem of my blouse. And then, the unexpected happened. My phone buzzed again, louder this time. I had no choice but to look. The message illuminated the screen. A name I didn't recognize flashed. A simple text, but one that made my heart leap in terror. I know what you're doing. I froze. Every muscle in my body locked up. My reflection in the mirror stared back, wide-eyed and terrified, mirroring my inner panic. Emma noticed immediately, her playful smirk faltering for the briefest second. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice calm but tinged with curiosity. I swallowed hard, fumbling for words. "It's someone just texted me, they know," my voice trembled. Emma's eyes widened slightly, but then she laughed softly, a sound that was both soothing and teasing. "Well, that makes it more exciting, doesn't it?" "Exciting? Exciting?" My chest tightened further, a mix of horror and thrill. Exciting wasn't exactly how I described the fear coursing through me. But part of me, the side that had felt alive for the first time today, thrilled at the idea of danger, exposure, and the unknown. I looked down at myself. Every detail of my transformation, from the silky blouse to the swaying skirt, the delicate heels, the wig that framed my face, and the subtle shimmer of makeup, felt magnified. I was exposed, vulnerable, and yet undeniably myself. Emma stepped closer, her eyes scanning every inch of me, a mix of curiosity and mischief in her gaze. "You know," she said softly, "sometimes the best adventures start with a little risk." I nodded, though I wasn't sure if it was agreement, fear, or some strange mix of both. My hands shook as I reached instinctively for the wig, adjusting it nervously. The heels made my movements precarious, each step calculated and careful. My reflection in the mirror showed two selves, Alex, the boy I had always known, and the new me, beautiful, delicate, daring. The door creaked again. Emma's gaze flicked toward it. My stomach lurched. Someone could walk in at any second. My secret, my thrill, my newfound identity. All of it could be revealed in a single moment. Emma's lips curved into a mischievous smile. "Do you want me to leave you alone with all of this?" she asked, gesturing at me, at the transformation, at the person I had become. I swallowed hard. The temptation to say yes, to be alone with this side of myself, was immense. But the fear, the potential for exposure, was equally powerful. I hesitated, caught between desire and dread. Suddenly another sound. A soft knock at the door. My heart stopped. This time it wasn't Emma, it was someone else. Someone I didn't know. And that single knock sent a jolt of pure panic through me. Emma's eyes widened slightly, but she didn't move. Instead, she stepped closer to me, brushing a stray strand of wig from my face. Her touch was gentle, grounding, but also heightened the tension in my chest. "I think," she said softly, "you might have to make a choice."
Choice.
The word echoed in my mind like a warning bell. Reveal myself fully, embrace this thrilling, forbidden side of me, and risk judgment, exposure, maybe even humiliation, or hide everything, retreat into my old self, and lose the spark I had finally discovered. My reflection in the mirror stared back, unwavering. Two versions of me, caught in the same gaze, one fearful, one daring. And somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "You can't go back now." Not completely. I took a shaky breath, heels clicking against the floor as I shifted slightly. My hands trembled as I adjusted the blouse, the skirt, the wig, every motion both grounding and terrifying. Emma's eyes followed me, warm and playful, but unreadable. And then, the final moment of suspense. Another text flashed on my phone. I dared not look, but my curiosity, my fear, my thrill were all too strong. My fingers hovered over the screen, trembling. The words glowed faintly, just enough to make my pulse race. "See you soon, and don't try to hide it." I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Emma's gaze met mine again, unflinching, teasing, yet somehow reassuring. The apartment was silent, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the soft buzz of the phone. I stood there, fully transformed, vulnerable, exposed, and yet alive in a way I had never known. Emma's lips curved into that teasing, enigmatic smile. "Well, Alex," she said softly, "looks like your little secret just became a lot more interesting." And then the scene froze in my mind, the heels clicking softly, the wig slightly off kilter, the blouse catching the light, my reflection in the mirror staring back at me, wide-eyed and terrified, and the sense of impending revelation hung thick in the air. Would Emma accept me fully? Would my secret be exposed? Would the stranger behind the door change everything? I didn't know. And that uncertainty, that terrifying, exhilarating uncertainty, was all I could feel.